Shalom Israel. It is now high time that the manifestation of the Most High's chosen prophets come and manifest themselves. No longer shall you be held under the bondage of religion, under the bondage of education, under submission of the oppressor. Give me Isaiah 30 and 20.
And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eye shall see thy teachers.
Now what does that mean, to be removed into a corner? Anytime you pack any animal, any creature inside a corner, it either fights or flights. But in this case, people, we have the understanding and the integrity and the knowledge and stability to give you high information of the Most High. Give me John 4:23.
For the hour cometh and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth.
What does spirit mean? Intelligence. And what does truth mean? Truth mean it's the evidence of faith.
The people come when a good teacher grab the mic. They gather round just to see what the Lord is like. Come one, come all, gather round and see. Spirits fall in subjection when the words decreed are seen. People fall to their knees in shame. Seeing tears come forth when they call his name. Watch souls come to life when the words define. Some lose their mind when exposed they blind. Yeah, that's really what's good. So fly, so fresh, so good. To my brothers on the front line putting it down, working hard for their robe and their crown now. Standing posts all traveling abroad. It's all works in the eyes of the Lord. R.I.P. to the brothers that done lost their way. We gon' keep this shit cracking. This is SOJ. We've been bound by your calling and paid our dues. A proposition from the Lord you can't refuse. See us on them corners and we can't be moved. Don't fear no popos, gangsters and lolos. Essays, oh no, church going loco. Intellectuals, cross-dressing homosexuals. See, we on a mission and we can't be stopped. We on a mission and we can't be stopped. And it's dedicated to all the brothers all over the world, dealing this word on the corners and curves, in season and out. I see you, baby. Keep hitting it hard, cause your works is not in vain, and the word would not return void.
And that is a fact. That is a fact. The world will not come back void. All praises, honor, and glory to the Most High. It's your brother IQAhmath. IQAhmath, first name. IQ is all the same. You reach another episode. DSTM. Don't shoot the messenger. You know what time it is. If you've been around, you know that you've been picking up what I've been putting down. But if you have been, let me get that right. But if you have not, don't get too close because you might get shot. Shout out to the families in the house. Everybody that knows from when I went live Salaki, it was Wednesday on Atonement. I told y'all I would be back, all praise to the Most High, to have a serious discussion with y'all regarding what's getting ready to change for all of us in this faith and in the world in general. When you're talking about the beast system getting pushed in, you're talking about a global hierarchy that's ready to put their agenda first. And you know what that means? A new world of, you put the last word on it, you know what time it is. Persecution of the righteous, all of that good stuff is going to be discussed today. Many of y'all might be up to speed on what I'm going to talk about. Some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about and don't know the severity of what I'm talking about. Let me salute the families in the house. Prayerfully, everybody's doing well on the Shabbat. Salute to Bayan Shakal in the house of Bayan, Ashar in the house, shalom to you. Uziel in the house, shalom to you. Rani Yah, shalom to you, sis. Hashemai in the house, shalom, shalom. Yasha War, shalom to you. Who else we got? Koaf in the house, shalom, shalom. Shalak in the house, shalom, shalom. Anybody else who's going to be joining us later or might be popping in tomorrow, if your sleep can't get it together, who knows? Oh, they got my brother Carlos, man. Where you been at, man? Where you been at? Come on in, good brother. Come on in. Come on in. All right. So hopefully everybody's doing well, man. Bless about to everybody. We're gonna get right to it. I want to share some articles. Some we're gonna have to read through. It's gonna be a little different. I'm not just gonna clip and show. We need to read, get context, get full understanding on what we're talking about for the night. You got some folks that's in the truth, some folks that hold some convictions, hold the faith. Share the video with them immediately, right now. Tell them, come on in. The water's fine. Don't be scared. All right. Tag somebody. Let them know, because very important. We're gonna talk about tonight. Let me share my screen. We're gonna get right into it. And it's not clickbait. It's not cap. Your man did declare war on big cities. He said he's gonna clean them up one by one. Let's start right here. We're gonna start right here. We're gonna get to some scriptures later, but I want to get to some of these headlines and these articles first, right? So you see here, what's he suggesting? You reading it just like I'm reading it. Training grounds, huh? Trump suggests using dangerous U.S. cities as training grounds for military. I've been saying it for how long now? The Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. They're using and have used the quote unquote migrant situation to bring in oppressive measures, to bring in a whole new dictatorship on how they want things to be ran, backed by a beast system, backed by Satan, the New World Order, all that good stuff, right? That was the excuse to implement these particular measures. So we see now, beforehand, it was just about, oh, we got to get these illegals out of here. We got to get the criminals. Remember, they were just saying, oh, we just want the bad ones out. Remember that? They were saying, oh, the illegals, yeah, some of them over here are good people. We want to get all the gang members, and we want the drug addicts and the rapists and the murderers. The bad ones we're trying to get rid of. We'll work with everybody else. We'll try to get them situated, but we need the bad guys out of here first. Remember all that? Now it's everybody, anybody. If you fit the profile, don't have broken English. Don't be speaking Spanish in public. If you look the part, they can detain you, question you. All of that done changed now, right? Now it's turned into, oh, we need to go ahead on and get ICE and military into these cities now for crime. Everything is changing now. Here we go.
In other news, President Trump addressed a rare gathering of top military leaders at Quantico Marine Corps base in Virginia this morning. President Trump told leaders that defending the homeland should be the military's first priority. That includes deploying troops and the National Guard in U.S. cities, especially cities.
Hold on. Let's back that up, because I don't think everybody heard that one.
Deploying troops and the National Guard in U.S. cities, especially cities he say are run by Democrats.
Oh, not run by illegal migrants, gangs, drug traders, murderers, rapists, so forth and so on. He's now waging war on his political opponents and the cities that they control, which are the big cities: Chicago, California, New York, etc. Sending military and troops on the streets to all of the Democrat-run cities. You heard it.
Especially cities he say are run by Democrats.
Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war too. It's a war from within.
And other news.
Hold it. I hope you caught that. He said it's a war from within. So he's declaring that there's going to be a domestic war that needs to take place. One by one, we're going to clean them out. He named the cities that he wants to start with.
For some of the people in this room, that's a war too. It's a war from within.
This was at the generals and the admirals conference that he had. Him and Pete Hegseth, that big secret, top secret meeting that they had. That none of the generals, they were flying them in from all over the country, all outside, from all over the world, bringing them into one particular place at Quantico in Virginia, telling them that they need to shape up or ship out. We talked about that. I talked about that last Sabbath and on Tuesday or Wednesday, I should say. Now He's saying part of this discussion, remember the article that I brought out earlier? Matter of fact, I think I have it in this thing. Matter of fact, hold on. Just so that we have a good memory of what's happening.
And other news.
Hold on. Where is that article at? Let's see what he says. Is that it? No. Oh, here we go. In the same meeting. See that headline? Pete Hegseth tells top generals prepare for war. What was he saying? It wasn't about, get in shape. I'm tired of seeing the pot-bellied generals out here, and I'm tired of seeing dudes in dresses, as he says, and men in heels, and we're going to get rid of all this wokeness, and we're bringing it back to the old hardcore military days. No. There was underlining and undertones that was being expressed that he wanted them to know. Get ready. Get ready. And the so-called commander-in-chief in that same meeting, he comes through and says what he said.
And other news.
And we're going to straighten them out one by one. Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places. And we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too.
It's going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. Major part. He ain't talking about Venezuela. He ain't talking about Ukraine. He ain't talking about Taiwan. He's not talking about Russia. He ain't talking about Iran. Major part right here in these states.
It's a war, too. It's a war from within.
Okay. Now let's watch this one. Why Delta Force is practicing war training in Los Angeles, inside urban drills.
Why was Delta Force seen in Los Angeles getting into helicopters as war training moves into cities? Today,
Don't those look like projects and apartment buildings and places that they're going to breach? Don't this look like a little project or apartment building they're going to go breach and break in? Kicking down doors?
Delta Force seen in Los Angeles getting into helicopters as war training moves into cities. Today, many special missions happen in cities, so Delta Force practices in real urban places. They've been spotted in areas like Chicago streets and even inside stores such as Target. These drills are made to feel real. Former members say the missions can last for weeks. Soldiers must find and capture fake targets while blending into city life. But once a mistake happened, they grabbed the wrong person by accident. That person had no idea what was going on, but the team thought he was pretending to be part of the exercise. This shows how realistic and intense these modern city training missions have become for elite forces. Why was Delta...
You see that? They're in there practicing. They grabbed the wrong person, thought he was playing along, then, yoked him up, thinking he's all part of the drill. So they're in the midst running these particular drills, and they've been doing this for a long time. I remember bringing this out years ago in a current event class. They was talking about the black helicopters that was flying around downtown LA, and the particular Army captain or general, whoever gave the interview, he said, yeah, we're doing urban warfare drills. We're practicing for urban environments because that's these are future missions that we're going to be on. Now, mind you, this was like 10, 12 years ago. Now they're putting it all into effect. Let's continue. Yeah, you're exactly right, Carlos. Acting like Nero. He's going to burn something down, tear something up, blame it on Jakes so that they can really get the persecution going.
Delta Force seen in Los Angeles.
Let's watch another one.
How are we able to offer the Reed sofa for just
We saw
$295?
I showed
At Living
some of this
Spaces,
over
we
in
design
Chicago,
furniture
but
with
let's see if
affordable
we got
materials and
interviews
build the
with
products
others.
We're getting new reports about a chilling and downright shocking escalation of ICE tactics against the residents of Chicago.
Now, Shalak, overall, you're right. But best believe Jacob's trouble, persecution, Jake's getting, that's all got to come to pass. But in the end all be all, it's not going to go how they think. This is not the end game. They're not going to win doing these particular tactics. They're going to persecute. They're going to oppress. They're going to slaughter. They're going to martyr some people. But when it's all said and done, they're going to pay for everything ×2. As Revelation 18 says, reward her double. They're going to get double for what they did to us and doing to us. But let's watch this.
In the middle of the night, hundreds of armed federal agents and police, backed up by riot trucks, smoke grenades, and helicopters.
Now, getting back to Wednesday's live and a couple weeks ago, I wish I had the little TikTok videos and the videos of them goofy mop head Jakes talking about they come to Chicago, folks. We got switches. We ain't. This is different. We out here in the shy in the rack, and we. Them same niggas is in the house right now, hiding under their beds, scared to death. Ghost town. Don't come to the rack. We got switches. They've got armored vehicles, helicopters, hellfire missiles, drones. They've got 100-round drums on AK. I mean, let's knock it off now. 50 cal, 40. I mean, they got everything they have and more. Vests. They got sound waves. They can reduce a Jake to his knees. Smoke grenades. I mean, flashbangs. What are they talking about? It's a shame that our people really think that you got a chance against a man who was blessed. Remember, his blessing was to live by the sword. And I'm gonna do a lesson on him and that prophecy too. Just him and all of his weaponry, everything that he's come up with. That's why brothers and sisters are gonna have to implore their faith. It's gonna take divine intervention for the children of Israel, blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics to overcome this beast, man. But let's continue.
Breached fences and busted doors in an immigration raid on an entire apartment building on the city's south side. They pulled dozens of residents from their homes in zip ties, including children, some of them without any clothes. They then held some outside for hours and dragged the others into rented vans.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face.
Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. One of them.
Did you hear that? Kids zip tied. They flashbanging whole apartments. They don't care. Woman, child. Remember that. What's the scripture say? I was gonna give some other scriptures later, but we got to get to the meat of the matter while we're here right now. What? That was one of the curse things that our enemy said they were gonna do. 28. What are they saying? 50. Let's see. Where's that one at? Deuteronomy 28 and 50 says hold on, we'll read 49 and 50. The Most High Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So we're going to be invaded by a nation whose tongue we wouldn't understand. They're going to come with a whole new language, dialect. They're going to come as swift as the eagle. So they're going to represent, not only we know that Rome came as the eagle, America represents the eagle. That's the national bird. Everybody should know and understand this particular curse, right? Verse 50 says, a nation of fierce countenance. So the manner in which this man lives, right? Nobody has more fierceness, more ruthlessness, more heinous crimes under their belt than the so-called white man. You could talk about Mao Zedong. Oh, he killed in Pol Pot. Oh, they killed millions of their own people. Yeah, okay. Add it up, though. Since the so-called white man has been in rulership, Job 9:24, let's say 331, 333 BC under the Greeks, the amount of blood that's on his hands. I mean, we're at the point now where all nations hate him because he's managed to spill blood amongst all nations. Ishmael can account to that. Moab can account to that. Ham can account to that. Japheth can account to that. I mean, we're just talking to biblical nations, right? And all that's encompassing with them. He's laid his sword to blood with the Africans. He's laid his sword to blood with the Chinese, with the Japanese. He's laid his sword to blood with the Polynesians. He's laid his sword to blood with the Arabs and Ishmaelites. I mean, who hasn't he touched? The Spaniards, himself, the children of Israel, the indigenous tribes over here, the Maya, the Inca, the Aztecs, the Maroon societies over in the Caribbean, the Arawak Indians. I mean, he's killed everybody. A nation of fierce countenance. So when they're going in, knocking down doors at an apartment complex in Chicago, don't care about the kids, zip tying them, flash banging, waking the women up, snatching everybody up out their homes, guns to the faces of the residents. Who are they looking for? Now this is all shock and awe, as they call it. A nation of fierce countenance who shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Let's get back to this.
We're getting new reports about a chilling and downright.
People were screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, "Them kids."
Did you hear that? One of the ICE agents said, "F them kids." Because you know the women is out there yelling, they just kids, don't do that to them. Why you got them tied up? And you know, they said that, man, shut your black, you know what, up. F them kids. That's the new Gestapo. That's the new secret police. That's Agent Orange's new regime to back him, right? And to back his will.
They zip tied the kids together. ICE put out a statement saying they were pursuing Trinidad gang members, but U.S. citizens.
Okay, so they saying they're trying to catch Trinidad gangs. All I seen was black folks. That's supposed to be a Venezuelan gang. So, Kohav, remind me. But as far as I know, Chicago is heavily segregated. Now, unless they didn't let the migrants mix in with the black neighborhoods in Inglewood and in Wild Hunters and everywhere else, the Northern Kingdom got their own area, Southern Kingdom got their own area. I don't know why they will be looking for quote unquote Trinidad Venezuelan gangs in the predominantly black neighborhood with a building everybody's testifying is all black. And where did this Trinidad gang come from? You notice all of a sudden after the migrants come in, they threw a gang name on it. I mean, every other time we hearing about all of these particular, so they all together there now. Now, okay, so, but would you find that particular gang infested in a predominantly black building? I mean, I'm looking at who's being interviewed, who was out there. I ain't seen a Hispanic person yet say, yeah, I was scared. I thought they was going to get me too. Let's knock it off. I know the migrants is there. That's a fact. I know they're there. But this is, it made me say, who and where did this Trinidad gang come from? Everybody in America and throughout the country has heard about all of the most quote unquote dangerous and popular gangs in America. You hear about the Bloods, you hear about the Crips, you hear about the GDs, you hear about the Vice Lords, you're hearing about the Zoes down in Florida. You're hearing about all these particular gangs and crews. We know who's who. Now all of a sudden it's a whole new player that pops up out of nowhere that America is now labeled this particular gang. Now, if it's a gang that they came from, maybe they was popular in Venezuela and they all of a sudden now they the most dangerous gang in the country here. How they was able to take over all the other gang, I have no idea. But you know they always slap a name on the boogeyman, just like they do with ISIS, just like they do with what did they say? Because they used to change. They say it was ISIS. They said it was ISIL. What other names did they have for them? The Taliban, all the 9/11, boogeyman that popped out. Same thing what they utilizing to justify them standing on roofs, helicopters, and the whole nine in Chicago.
Living in the building say they were detained too. The cops told them that if they had any unrelated warrants, they wouldn't be going back home.
Okay, Con, I see what you're saying.
37 people were ultimately arrested after agents separated.
Now, Con, the migrant shelter in the area, then go raid the shelter. But anyway.
Children from their parents on the street. And if you're looking at this and asking yourself, how is this legal? That is the right question to ask. And it has kind of an answer. And to understand it, you have to go back to Los Angeles this summer, where federal immigration agents started pushing the envelope on orders from the White House. They raided Home Depot parking lots and Walmart lots, and they grabbed people they saw. Near one Home Depot, masked agents with batons grabbed Narcisco Barranco, who has lived in the U.S. for more than 30 years and has 3 sons serving in the Marine Corps. Agents beat Barranco on the ground, dislocating his shoulder before detaining him. In Van Nuys, agents raided a car wash, remembering this, sending patrons and workers scrambling before the 79-year-old owner, who is a U.S. citizen named Rafi, tried to ask them what they were doing.
That is when Rafi was taken down by agents and eventually handcuffed.
I mean, if this isn't secret police tactics, man, remember, Agent Orange gave them the green light and said, get creative, do what you got to do. You've got a green light to do whatever you want. Remember, he gave them forgot the term, but it's similar to immunity. Gave them immunity to the ICE agents so that they can go out and do what they want to do. Remember that? Hold on, let me see if I can find what they actually call it.
You're getting new reports about a chilling and downright shocking escalation of ICE tactics against the residents of Chicago. In the middle of the night, hundreds of armed federal agents and police, backed up by riot trucks, smoke grenades, and
look at this. Supreme Court says Trump has absolute immunity for court act. No, not Trump. I'm talking about Trump immunity. Nah, where they say that they gave he gave ICE. Look at this. How the Supreme Court paved the way for ICE's lawlessness. The court picked a hell of a time to give a lawsuit immunity to the federal government. Yeah, well, this is similar to what I'm talking about. He gave immunity. That's what it is. He gave ICE immunity. That was it. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Gave them immunity, man. They out here bashing heads, breaking
Why
arms,
was Delta
slamming down?
You're getting new reports about a chilling and downright shocking escalation of ICE scrambling before the 79-year-old owner, who is a U.S. citizen named.
And mind you, they're out here. I was talking to a family member last weekend, and he had got an email. I don't know how he got it. Maybe through his employment networks or whatever, advertising for him to be an ICE agent. They said they offered him a $50,000 signing bonus, and then there was different positions that was available, which was paying anywhere from like $50,000 to six figures. But they're luring people in with this $50,000 signing bonus, and now they're sitting back saying, like, these guys ain't all trained, ain't real officers and all that other stuff, man. They going through a hot skip and a jump, masking them up, throwing gloves on, hats on, giving them vests in unmarked cars and straps, and tell them go out there and go get them damn spics and wetbacks, niggas, get them. And you got immunity, don't trip. Hey, the damn what's his name? The former
You're getting
Superman.
new reports about a chilling and downright shocking escalation of ICE tactics against the residents of Chicago.
What's the guy's name? that played Superman on TV?
In the middle of the night, hundreds of armed federal agents and police, backed up by riot trucks, smoke grenades, and helicopters,
Dean Cain,
breached fences and busted doors in an immigration
they're
raid
recruiting anybody
on an entire
This is why these cast man can run out
on
there
the
and do
city's
what they
south
want to
side.
do.
They
Superman
pulled
actor
dozens
Dean
of
Cain
residents
becomes
from
the
their
ICE
homes and
agent
zip
that
ties,
supports
including
vilified
children,
officers
some of them
enforcing
without
immigration
any
laws.
clothes. They then held some outside for hours and
That is when
Let me
Rafi
play a
was
little bit
taken
more of
down
this,
by
and then we'll go
agents
move
and
on.
eventually handcuffed. Rafi says he was injured in the process.
And they sit on me. This is my elbow. About a week ago.
Then they done popped this dude elbow out the damn
Rafi
socket.
says he and 5 others at his car wash were taken to a federal detention center downtown. We're still working to learn more about why they were detained.
And that man is not alone.
Look how you got my hand twisted that I'm American, bro. Yo, these guys are literally based off of skin color. My homie was born here just because of the way he looks.
Agents kept stopping people they suspected of being undocumented immigrants for no.
So y'all see what it is, and that's just going to expand. That's just going to expand, right? But look at this. They got this out here. We talked about this before. LA versus hate, right? LA versus hate. Let's see that little promo.
We welcome everybody.
Hey, Shalom, no matter what. What's up, brother?
Join the fight against hate.
Now hold on.
We all are.
You see what they slid in there?
Join the fight against hate.
That thing right there. That was a transmission. Now see, this particular organization, they're trying to make it sound as if they're out there to fight the plights of the blacks and Hispanics and the oppressed people here. But no. They're all inclusive. They're looking for the transmissions, the sodomites. Everybody's included this. Look at this. March for Pride in Long Beach. This is what they're trying to co-opt the struggles of the blacks and Hispanics and everything that we've been going through for decades upon decades here, millennial, really, 400 plus years, well over 400 plus years. And here they are sliding in on the back end, and they got this little group out here to say, hey, we're fighting against hate. Now watch how they get down, though.
We welcome everybody. Welcome. Join the fight against hate.
We all are together in this fight against hate.
I stand with the Black community. I also stand with the Latino community, the AAPI community, LGBT community, the Jewish community.
You hear this great melting pot. They want everybody together, right? I'm standing for everybody. Jewish community, the LGBTQ, the blacks, the Hispanic, everybody. No.
Support the victim and confront the oppressor.
Together, we are stronger. I feel stronger.
It's beyond words, honestly, to see people putting their heart and dedication.
We are brothers and sisters.
Now, let me tell you something, just to get to the point, right? Here's some of their, their little flyers and things that they got. Now, the thing is, they are, look at this. LA versus Hate is a community center system designed to support all residents of LA County. Led by the Human Relations Commission, LA versus Hate works with community partners from all 5 county districts, representing a diverse coalition of voices committed to ending hate. Who are the biggest, quote unquote, leave it to the world, who's the biggest haters that's out there in the streets right now? Who's already got the label as being a hate group? They've got billboards and posters up right now. LA versus Hate. Dial 211 if you're witnessing hate. Do you know how many of our people is licking their chops saying, I can't wait till I can call and report these so-called Black Hebrew Israelites that's out here ranting and raving on these corners, talking about the white man as the devil and we're better than everybody else, and they're going into bondage and slavery and twisting the Bible and this, that. They are going to run wild with this. And they've been around for a while, don't get me wrong. This little organization been around for a little while. But now they're getting ready to have the ammunition that they can go out there and say, hey, oh, Agent Orange says they want to get rid of all the hate group. They want to get rid of anybody that's anti-American. They want to get rid of all that's coming up. Be patient. We're going to get to all of that very soon. He's getting ready to lay down the gauntlet on everything. So see something, say something, spies on the streets. They already got the microphones, the cameras, everything else, watching and waiting. And now they got these little organizations, because all of this is all based upon if we're all not in this one big global melting pot and everybody get along and, you're against the gays. Yeah, them Israelites keep talking about the damn sodomites walking around on the streets and telling them that the guy's going to kill them for it. Oh, yeah, you getting called. Oh, yeah, they're going to make that phone call. See, that's just part of it. Now, let's get on back here. LA versus Hate, United Against Hate Week, Business Toolkit. They got seminars. They doing it all. Now, let's get to this. This is one of the things I really want to show. We're going to have to you're going to be patient. I know Israel, some of y'all don't like to read. You just like to watch. But we're going to read through this one, right? Because it's important. This is completely targeted at, especially the men of the Lord, the women and the daughters of Israel, those of us who maintain our focus in on what the Bible teaches as far as this place being Babylon, spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt, destined for flames, destruction, and everlasting perpetual smoking. Everything that we stand for as far as the moral laws, civil laws, so forth and so on, who our enemies are, this is going to be aimed at us. Primarily. This is the way they're getting ready to co-opt us in. Look, Trump's NSPM-7 labels common beliefs as terrorism indicators. So and I remember, what was it? Early 2000, maybe. I don't know if Elder Rossoff was on, but I remember when he had came with the news article and said, the Black Hebrew Israelites are on the FBI's watch list. And then it became, the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, all of them, it was labeling us a hate group, black hate group, this, that, and the third, right? Now, watch this and understand. Do you see this right here? New directive targets anybody who's anti-Christian. Who's been going the hardest against the Christians as it stands right now? And since the men of the Lord have been out on the streets and driving and getting our people out them whorehouses known as churches. How many debates do we have online smashing the Christians? Using Christian this, that, and the third as clickbait and titling to get your YouTube views up and up. Do you see the bait? Do you see the trap? Do you see how it works? Now this has already created a arena to say those guys Oh, forget freedom of speech. They're anti-Christian. They're breaking the First Amendment, freedom of religion. They won't let a Christian be a Christian. They're constantly. Do you see how this is gonna work? I hope you wouldn't. Hope you wouldn't. New directive targets are anti-Christian, anti-American. Oh, who else is saying the hell with America? Have let Babylon burn. Blah blah blah. Who else is pushing these particular narratives in that order? Nobody greater than the Hebrew Israelites. Let's continue. With the mainstream media distracted by the made-for-TV drama James Comey's indictment, Trump has signed a little notice. Remember I said, while you're looking at Charlie Kirk and worrying about that goofiness, while you're worried about how many years is Diddy going to get in jail and all this other foolishness, all the distractions was laid out, and in behind closed doors, here we go, signing a little notice document called the National Security Directive, identifying, quote, anti-Christian and anti-American views as indicators of radical left violence. That now you can be targeted or classified as a terrorist just for your thoughts, your opinions, your ideology. See, this is 1984 thought police type stuff, Minority Report, precog crimes. You ain't even did nothing, but you're thinking it. Oh, getting. We've been seeing the channel. We've been watching your YouTube. We see the Instagram reels. We see your TikToks. We know what you're up to. We're going to really start monitoring what's going on. And not only this, be prepared for more little agents of Satan to be involved in said congregations, in churches, in household churches or whatnot. That they're going to be sending in the agents. They already got a gang of them already within Israel. There's already agents in Israel. I mean, what other quote unquote movements have they not implemented agents and provocateurs within the Black Panthers, the Young Lords, the new Black Panther Party? They always got undercovers in there. And they're in the Israelite community too. Don't think they not. But now they're going to be in there even more. With this as motivation, let's continue. Called the National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. It's being referred to as NSPM 7 by administration insiders. This is the first time in American history. Hello? That's why I said this changes everything. This is a whole new regime coming up under Satan's authority. USA, that there is an all-of-government effort to dismantle left-wing terrorism. Trump's Homeland Security advisor, Stephen Miller, said, referring to the issuance. To the extent that the major media noticed the directive at all, they even C-SPAN incorrectly labeled it a, quote, executive order, like this week's designation of Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. See, that was the groundworks. When they labeled Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, that opened up all of the rest of the quote unquote groups as fair game. Let me get this out the way. Now, let's drop down. It says, it's hard to overstate how much different NSPM 7 is from over the 200 executive orders Trump has frantically signed since coming back in office. So they're saying, oh, don't worry, it's not an executive order. But meanwhile, they're enforcing it just by calling Antifa or label Antifa a terrorist organization. But let's get down to a little bit more. I want to get, hold on. I don't want to skip too much. I want to make sure we do this thoroughly. All right. An executive order publicly lays out the course of day-to-day federal government operations, whereas a national security directive is a sweeping policy decree for the defense, foreign policy, intelligence, and law enforcement apparatus. National security directives are often secret. But in this case, the Trump administration chose to publish NSPM 7, only the 7th since he's come into office. Previous national security directives have been controversial, even politically earth-shaking. So they just talking about when President Carter, Jimmy Carter, did his thing, did something similar. George Bush. Now let's continue on because I want to get to this point. It says NSPM 7 directs a new national strategy to, quote, disrupt any individual or groups that foment political violence. So you best believe that they will formulate our message as being politically motivated. When you're talking about death to America, burn Babylon, burn all that, becoming enemies of the state by declaring these particular things, and all we're doing is prophesying. We're saying what the Bible says. But do you think that Rome took it personal when with the apostles? Absolutely. You think the Greeks did? Absolutely. The blood of our forefathers and the Maccabees and the apostles and the disciples all can attest to it. You can't get out there saying the truth because they'll twist your words and now say, "Oh, this is political. This ain't religious no more." I remember years ago when we was at our old congregation, True Nation, that there was a brother that worked for the Department of Homeland Security, and he called me and said, "Hey, let me tell you something right now. They're watching, Jakes. You got to be careful how you formulate your words if you want to not have heat on you, so to speak." And just kind of paraphrasing the conversation, he said, "They don't care. You can say Esau's the devil. You can say all that other stuff. They don't care about all of that. But the moment that you make a direct threat to the nation or to the political officials or anything like that, that's when they on you. So when you're saying death to America, they can formulate that and say that this is actually a threat of political violence. That's a declaration of terrorism." So I said, "Okay, so what if we say death to Babylon?" "Yep, no problem with that because you're not saying America." I said, "Okay." This is how they take your words and now they say, "Oh, this is a political organization. This is some left-wing, quote unquote, extremist." But watch, it goes deeper. Watch. Now it says they hope to disrupt any individual or groups that foment political violence, including before they result in violent political acts. See what I'm saying? Minority Report, Tom Cruise, Thought Police from 1984. You just thinking about it. Let me find out, and we're on you. Oh, we're gonna stop you before you even get a chance. See, this article even talked about it. I didn't even finish the article. I'm reading most of this with you. Before they result in violent political acts. Look at this. The Trump administration isn't only targeting organizations or groups, but even individuals and, quote, entities whom NSPM 7 says can be identified by any of the following indicators. What they say goes. If you're promoting anti-Americanism, get ready. Anti-capitalism, get ready. Anti-Christianity, get ready. See, 2 out of 3 already. The children, the men of Israel, and the doctrines that we superlatively push, guilty, right? Look at this. Support for the overthrow of the United States government. Extremism on migration. Oh, look at this. Extremism on race. Oh, if you are holding your nationality or your not even your nationality, but your ethnicity, your race, if you're extreme about that, who's more extreme than the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites? Who takes their genealogy more serious than us? The race for us to find out who we are, to stand on 10 toes and say, yeah, we're the people. Hold on. Let me see something. Don't nobody push it like us. So you already know. I think I want a second computer. The First Peter, but I want the ESV. I think it's the ESV. Look at this. First Peter, chapter 2, and verse 16. Now it says in the ESV, let's read in the verse 9. It's like in the KJV, it says, "But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." Who's he talking about? The children of Israel. Going all the way back to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, so forth and so on, right? Now, reading in another translation in the ESV, what's it say? But you are a chosen race. Oh, that puts a whole lot of that puts a whole nother spin on things. This ain't just talking about the people, the church, the believers. No. We're leading it back to bloodline. We're talking about the chosen race of people. Israel, the saints of Yahweh. A royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, right? But now you face persecution for even holding that, because that's extreme. Hold on. You're saying you're a chosen race? You're saying you're the chosen people? Like, hold on, wait. We might have to go ahead on and shut you down under NSPM 7. So right now, in the views of the world, in our biblical stance, strike one, strike two, strike three, and we wouldn't put it like this. Gotta be careful how this is even put. We would never incite anything to do that, but would we cry over spilt milk if that happened? No, because it's gonna get overthrown anyway by our side, the angels, the elect. But don't have any extreme. Struck out again. Extremism on gender. Oh, you don't like them? You don't like the transmissions? Oh, you don't like the same sex? Okay, we got a place for you too. Anybody that holds hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on morality. In other words, if you are against anything that is being pushed by America, NSPM 7 now gives them reason to say, hey, they haven't even done anything yet, but let's move on them before they do something. Remember that? The thought crime? That this is where they precognitively are saying, we know what you're probably thinking to do. We're just going to get you now. The United States requires a national strategy to investigate, and disrupt networks, entities, and organizations that foment political violence so that the law enforcement can intervene in criminal conspiracies before they result in violent political acts. Oh, they're just going to stop it before it happens. But disrupt networks. So that means that don't be surprised when, your brother's channels is getting snatched up. They already been doing that. Snatching up channels, taking your Instagram pages, shutting down your TikTok. That's a whole nother thing. With the new TikTok regime that's coming in under Oracle and Larry Ellison and all of them, that we'll talk about that tomorrow. Most High permit. This whole nother the beast system now is coming into play. And this is also when you get into the mark of the beast and everything else that comes along with accepting the mark, his name, the number, all of This is all part of the compromising that they're going to want you to do in order to get your global ID, your digital ID, get your little digital tokens to be able to survive. And everybody else is going to be removed if you don't bow down. See? Now, let's continue. A pre-crime endeavor preventing attacks before they happen is the core to the post 9/11 concept of counterterrorism itself. Remember, 9/11 was a big move that they did so that they can shift and change and put in and institute new laws, spying, the NSA, all that other stuff, man, tracking, the Patriot Act, all them things they put into play. Now they're using immigration, Charlie Kirk, everything else to implement all these things, right? No longer satisfied to investigate acts of terrorism after the fact to bring terrorists to justice, the Bush administration adopted preemption. Overseas, that led to aerial assassinations by drones and special operation kill missions. Oh. And he said, well, that's overseas. They won't do that here. You think them sisters over there in Chicago felt like they was gonna get flashbanged and kids zip tied and troops on their roofs and helicopters flying over them and urban warfare drills happening in LA? You think they was waiting on that too? No, they wasn't thinking that. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander, as they say. Domestically, it led to a counterterrorism campaign whose hallmark was excessive and illegal government surveillance and the use of undercover agents and confidential human sources to trap and entrap would-be terrorists. Did you hear that? Domestically, what did Agent Orange say at the top of the class? He said, "We got a war going on here. It's a big one. We're gonna take them all down one by one. It's gonna be a big part of your job. The war within." Domestically, and now he's got this NSPM7 to back it up. Domestically, what did they utilize the 9/11 to do? To say we're doing counterterrorism moves to do what? Illegal government surveillance and what? The use of undercover agents. Mark my word, I said it already. They about to come in with the. Oh man, I got it on my phone, but there's a picture. Somebody drew a picture with a cat handing in his FBI jacket and a brother, or Esau giving him a shirt with some fringes on. I wish I had that one. I think it's on my phone somewhere. But anyway, the use of undercover agents and confidential human sources to trap and to entrap would-be terrorists. Entrap, hello? I remember there was supposed to be this movie that was supposed to come out, man, in the early 2000s. And it was supposed to be about the Israelites. I can't remember the name of it, but it was supposed to be about an undercover agent who infiltrates the Israelites, and his job and his mission was to entrap them and to start and wants them to start a civil war by blowing up something, and he ends up kind of getting turned out with the word, and something ends up not. It ends up not going to Asher. That's right. There you go, Uziel, the water. Whatever happened to that? Do you know what I'm talking about? But Asher was the name of it. Let me look it up real quick while we're here, because I know most don't even know about that. That was like an early '90s rumor that they was gonna come out with that movie, and it never came out. Nah, it ain't that one, but it was definitely yeah, it's not that one. But there was definitely a plot for one. Yeah, no, that ain't it. But I do believe that was it. I do believe that was it. Damn. See, look at what is this? Black Israelites will be at the center of a psychological thriller starring Danny Glover, Mekhi Phifer. Yeah, this was it right here. Black Israelites will be at the center of a psychological thriller starring Danny Glover and Mekhi Phifer. Renee Rosado and Gina Rodriguez have all signed up to star, and director Francisco Ordonez directorial debut titled Asher. The psychological thriller, which is being shopped at the American film market this week, is being billed as Da Vinci Code meets Donnie Brasco, with a story that will see a New York college student infiltrate the Black Israelites as part of a research for a thesis paper. Glover will play the powerful leader of the Black Israelite sect, while Pfeiffer will play a dissenting member of the group who befriends Renee Rosado's college student character and who just might be planning a terrorist attack. The story said, okay, yeah. Now they wrote this in 2013. I thought it was before that. This was supposed to have been on top, talked about before that. I guess they never got it done. But I do remember this. So yeah, there you go. They shut that down real fast. But getting back to the story, they're getting, this is what they're trying to do. We always say, man, truth. I mean, what do they say? Art imitating life. I mean, this is the real deal. So here they are talking about getting confidential human sources to trap and entrap would-be terrorists. So don't let some old goofy Jay come around in the congregation talking about, hey, man, yeah, I think we need to go ahead and say, F Esau, man, these damn devils, man. I got an arsenal at the crib, man. We go over here, man, light them up, blah, 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 and have a couple of, distraught vagabonds with them to go do something. And next thing you know, they're getting locked up and they're saying they're terrorists now. Remember, they've been trying to slap that label on us for the longest. Remember the couple that supposedly that had the shooting over there in New Jersey, and they was quick to say that they was Israelites a few years back. Alan Greenblatt on what was it? What's the name of that? The Breakfast Club was on there talking about how some Israelites went and shot paintballs or something at a Jewish man and his son. Come to find out it was a damn white man that did it, but he never retracted his statement, never corrected himself, and neither did anybody on that damn radio show acknowledge and say, oh, no, that wasn't any Black Israelites. One of your own people did that. Remember that? They've been trying to slap this on us for the longest. All they need is for a little lone wolf with some fringes on and some quote-unquote camp colors to lead a couple of other subplanet confidential human sources to go do some dirt. And now next thing you know, all hell is breaking loose on the Israelites. So let's wrap this thing up. I think I got pretty much what I wanted out of this. If y'all are more interested in it, make sure that you go ahead on and look up NSPM 7, right? NSPM 7. Here's also the actual National Security Memorandum. You see up top, Trump White House .archives.gov. This is the actual governmental source, right? 2017, they're putting into effect right now. The white man's patient. He lays it out, and then he's gonna bring it all once he got the whole plan laid out, where all the characters are in play, where there's no reason for you to have to deny that this is gonna go down. Then they put it into effect. So this is it right here. Y'all can look into it. But yeah, man's going for broke, man. Look at this. The FBI targets a new generation of black activists. That's why they had the Black Lives Matter. And here it is being ran by 3 lesbian witches, black witches, who had no intentions about standing behind Black Lives Matter. They're being funded by George Soros, an AstroTurf GMO small hat, who I played videos of him on a 60 Minutes interview talking about how he sold out his own people and fled and got a lot of his own small hat community killed. And said he'd do it again. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I played that little interview with him 2 years ago or something like that. And the interview was from a long time ago, 60 Minutes, with George Soros talking about his time growing up as a young Jew and running from the German you know who's, right, sold out his whole little town, changed his name, got adopted by some German general or something like that. Man, took a train, set up everybody, got him locked up and gassed out. Yeah, the same guy who's over here running Open Society, funding funding Antifa, funding all these little we know Black Lives Matter didn't have nothing to do with no damn Jakes. These women was anti-black lives. With their sexual lifestyle, they was not thinking about having no more damn babies. They wasn't out here protesting abortions. And they wasn't open to having no men impregnate them. So when and how did Black Lives Matter again? Oh, okay. But that was being used as a catalyst to now say black identity extremism is a problem. The Department of Justice has a whole booklet, a whole pamphlet. It's online, PDF. You can download it, about black identity extremists and how now that needs to be identified as a possible terror group. The new black activist hate groups, we got to watch them too. So now the fact that you want to identify, you have an extreme reason that you want to know who you are, identity, that's a problem. The agency would put its investigative authorities to better use by holding police officers accountable for acts of brutality. Throughout its history, the Federal Bureau of Investigation has viewed black activism as a potential national security threat. Hello? That's always been the case. So now when you see NSPLM 7 and all of that, they already got it lined up. Black Hebrews, we're already looked at as a national security threat. It has used its ample investigative powers not to suppress violence, but to inhibit the speech, and association rights of black activists. LA Against Hate. Call us immediately. If you're experiencing hate, if you're witnessing hate, if you don't like what you're seeing, if you're offended, call us so we can get them out of here. Let's continue. And its reaction to the protests following the police killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd shows little has changed, right? They talk about J. Edgar Hoover targeting Black Moses, Marcus Garvey. Remember, J. Edgar Hoover said that there was a fear of a Black Messiah. They don't want the uprising of the so-called blacks because the so-called blacks are going to wake up the rest of the tribes. They're trying to shut it down as fast as they can. And as they're seeing Israelites growing, moving, organizing, marching, active on all social media, researching, uncovering hidden truths. I mean, they're saying, we got to stop this. Debating their best on scholarly levels, shutting everything down. They're like, this isn't supposed to go this way. Not yet, not now. Remember, it's like the demons on Legion. What was that in Mark? I want to say Mark 7 or Mark 8. With Legion, all them demons on them, they said, Yahweh, you come to torch us before the time. They know that the time is short for them, man. So they throwing out all the gauntlets. This is all acts of fear. When you see these particular laws come into play and them changing and switching, and it's because they're scared. And I would be too if I was them. Look at this. Now, if you look at this particular map, they've already, since 2000, they've been tracking all the quote unquote hate groups and hate crimes and everything else all throughout the country, right? So you're saying, well, how are they going to track all of that and this stuff? Well, you know how they're going to do it. I showed y'all before. Well, what better way? You got to go ahead on and do. You got to break them up. You got to break it up. Remember this? How about this one? Break it up. Isolate them. If you put this damn near side by side now you can see how they can tackle these things when it's broken up into regions, more easily to be regulated, right? FEMA regions. All these particular regions and zones, 1 through 10. All right. Look at this. U.S. states to get $608 million from FEMA to build migrant detention centers. So not only do you got Alligator, Alcatraz, and the ones down at the border and everything else, hey, they've already got the budget now to go build. They built Alligator, Alcatraz in like a month. Now this budget, $608 million, they got approved in July. They about to build up all these detention centers. What? Because you think there's that many damn migrants they about to go track down, tracing, and snatch them up and do what they can? See, if you're putting it together, you see where they're trying to go with it, right? Putting it together, you see where they're trying to go with it. Now, let's get a few scriptures. Let's get a few scriptures before we close out, right? Because it's necessary, as the scriptures say, man. We gotta put the warnings out. It's like I want Ezekiel 33. And it says again, Ezekiel 33:1. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, and the people of the land take a man of their coast and set them for their watchmen, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. Our job, plant the seed, put the word out. You do what you want with it. You say, man, he's a fear monger. He talking crazy, man. Bullshit. No, they ain't gonna be that all that, man. Ain't not right now. We got more time. Okay, cool. Verse 5, he heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So when we talk about, people speculating and wondering, well, when's it going to be Jacob's trouble? When? This time right here, we're looking at, let's look at Jeremiah 30:4. And these are the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. Now remember that Jeremiah was in the time of Babylon. Israel and Judah was not together. So this is obviously a future prophecy that is being said that both children of Israel and the children of Judah, northern and southern kingdom, are going to go through some sort of tribulation. What is this? Verse 5, for thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice trembling of fear and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. That's the shining light that we have to focus in on, right? But we have to take note. Although we see in everything that's going on and understanding the plan and our enemies and what they're trying to do, we got to take note. Romans 15:4 says, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So whatever we seen happen in times past, we got to know that it's going to happen again. It's very likely going to happen again. What do I mean? You know, if we're looking for a time period in which we can kind of correlate, you know, we're very similarly walking into the times of Acts. Let's look at our fallen brother, Stephen, the apostle, and what happened to him for teaching and for going out and rebuking and telling our people about the history and telling them that they are not keeping the righteous ways of Hamashiach Yahushua and the scriptures. Look at this. Acts 7:52, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? He said, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? Man, you know, we got a Jeremiah in particular. In Jeremiah 8, man, they talking about the women and the men was rejecting Jeremiah, telling him, man, to hell with that, Jeremiah. We're going to bake cakes to the queen of heaven. We ain't got time to be talking about no repentance. Jeremiah, we're fine here in Babylon. Man, get up out of here. Yeah, they didn't want to hear him. Right. You know, many of our people get rejected. Christ and the disciples was getting ran up out of cities. Remember, Christ said, man, if they don't receive you in the city, man, wipe the dust off of your sandals, man, and keep it pushing. The persecution, turning our people, and look what they did to Aaron. They told Aaron, man, you better make us this golden calf, man, and we're gonna shut you down, man, and put you to death. Moses left us here to die, man. He ain't coming back. Make us this golden calf, man. We want to get back to worshiping Apis and the bull god and everything else. You dig what I'm saying? So, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted, and they have slain them, which showed before of the coming of the just one, of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers, who have received the law by the disposition of angels and have not kept it. So they said, man, you got the instruction from the holy angels. You got the rights to the laws and understanding, and you not even keeping it. And what happened when the people heard this? When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart and they gnashed on him with their teeth. God damn it, Stephen, you bastard. They don't want to hear this. Get the nigga, we're going to kill you. What up? Brothers here have experienced that. You out there on the streets, highways and byways. We've been in situations with knives, guns, fish, everything that got pulled out from teaching his word. And all we say is, man, we only read in the Bible. What you so mad about? But they get cut to the heart. When you destroy their ideologies, their family traditions, their sexuality, their religious denominations, you know, when you are disrupting their quote unquote freedoms by just walking on the streets or going to the principal places of concourse to go buy and sell, and you telling them, hey, put that, brother, don't buy that, you buying on the Sabbath. This is a high holy day. You're going to get put to death. The Lord said, don't buy on the Sabbath. You're not supposed to be cooking, brother. Brother, why are you working? And they sitting back saying, man, if you don't leave me alone, this is my life. Who the hell are you niggas out here on the streets dressed all funny and shut up? Stephen was getting the same type of treatment. The same type of treatment, right? And I said they gnashed on him with his teeth. You guys are a hate group. Sick, you guys keep talking about people being homosexuals. Let them who they want to love, and I can eat what I want to eat, and nobody wants to hear about black folks. We're not the chosen people. We're the Gentiles, and you guys out here lying and twisting the scriptures. And how dare you talk about the Christian church? Christian church, you follow, right? Somebody call 2211. LA versus 8. That's the hotline. Get them up out of here. Call the police. They got amplified sound over here. They don't have permits. We want to shut them down. But he, being full of the Holy Spirit, looked up steadfastly into heaven and saw the glory of the Most High and Yahushua standing on the right hand of the Most. That's a Trinity cut, but okay, we'll leave that alone. Glory of the Most High and Yahushua standing on the right hand of the Most High. and said, behold, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of the Most High. Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord. Look at that. They cried out, shut up. God doesn't only work through you. You're out there saying that God dealing only with you and God dealing with y'all. And why you got to read from that Bible? There's plenty of other books. God ain't only in that Bible. You should be reading the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and you should be learning about the negative confessions of Ma'at, and you don't want to hear about that, and quit talking about the Africans. That's the motherland. Just shut up. Covering up their ears, running up on you. Man, if you don't shut up on the hood, I'm going to spray this damn corner up. On the set, I'm telling you, Loke, I'm another nigga. I'm sick of y'all talking this bullshit. Nigga, this is our hood. We've heard it all. Running about him with one accord, and cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at the young man's feet, whose name was Saul. So Saul, whose later name was changed to Paul, he was right there watching. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon the Most High and saying, Amashiach Yahweh, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. Imagine that, man. That's a seriously humble brother, man. And says, you know what? Even at his last dying breath, he prayed for those who persecuted him in the name of Mashiach Yahweh. I pray for the strength like that. I ain't got it right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. But let's look at the next chapter. Look at this. And Saul was consenting unto his death. Remember, there was no chapters and verses in the original scrolls, right? So this is a continuation of the same chapter, same event. So as Stephen gave up the ghost, it says Saul was consenting unto his death. Saul said, yeah, man, put him in death. Good. Remember, Paul was an official. He was a Pharisee, but he was a bounty hunter. Anybody preaching Yahushua, right? But look at this. And Saul was consenting unto his death, and at that time there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem. Yeah, exactly right, Uziel. Nothing new under the sun. Great persecution against the church is coming. And we ain't talking about the Christian church, because the Christian church ain't talking about anti-American, anti-race, extreme race. No. You know who? Real church of the Most High. At that time, there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem. And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. So what did that lead to? A great scattering and dispersion of the people, the believers, men of the Lord, women of the Lord, the children. They was like, man, we got to get up out of here. Then now you're hearing why people say, man, we got to leave America. That ain't going to solve your problems. This is going to be a global nightmare for everybody. But you see here, that ended up making people leave, move, shaking. But that only helped spread the gospel, because the scriptures say that as they move, they continue teaching. It ain't to go run and hide. No, this was all about continuing on by the Most High's will, scattering the apostles and the teachers and the disciples to continue doing the work. But it says the apostles stood firm, right? But look at this. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial and made great lamentation over him. Verse 3, as for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house. Huh? Open up. We know you're in there. We see you live. We know you're going on. Open up the door. Who is it? Secret police. It's ICE. It's whoever. On the NSPLM 7, we've been hearing about anti-hate. Somebody called us, an anonymous call from this, that, and the third. Entering into every house. See, people worried about getting your it doesn't matter. You got a building, you got a location, or you teaching out your house. They was wrecking shop everywhere. So you can sit back and this is why I understand the knowledge behind the famous disclaimers that, come from, and I remember when One West was doing this way back in the early 90s, when they was telling, yeah, when they would throw out disclaimers, we're not affiliated with those groups, with any other group. That's old school. That ain't, people notice IUIC do that. They got that from ISUPK, One West, for the bishops and brothers that was there at that time, to disassociate themselves from any other quote unquote groups. For us, we was a quote unquote, splinter off of them back in the early 90s. And they had campaigns to discourage anybody from listening to us. So on the end of their cable shows or anything like that, they would say, we're not affiliated with the group at Lamert Park, and we're, the real Israelites or whatever. I say that to say those disclaimers don't matter. Under this regime, the so-called white, we're all the same. It doesn't matter. They're not gonna say, oh, those are the good guys. Although those are, they only do it in the house. They don't be out there on the streets. Yeah, you get those Israelites. Yeah, we're not extreme like those guys, man. We don't do all of that out on the streets. It don't matter. They gonna come to your damn house and say, oh, you still hold the same views. Yeah, you might not be as extreme. You might not be out there front line, and you might not be an example, but we know your beliefs. And before you do something, remember, it was about pre-crime, motivations for quote unquote terrorism. You ain't got to do nothing. It's, we already know how you're thinking. You out of here too. But wait, no, we don't do that. We condemn those guys. We don't even. We're OT onlys, and we don't really believe in that. Nigga, you out of here too. What are you talking about? But remember, the things that were done aforetime for a learner is nothing under the sun, like the brother put out there in Ecclesiastes 1:9. Look at this, verse 3 again. And as for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house and hauling, really should say, and hauling men and women, committing them to prison. So sisters, don't be out there. I'm not with them. I'm not, I thought just the men were supposed to be getting persecuted. I don't teach. I sit here with my little head wrap on and I'm quiet. Shamefaced. You out of here too. You believe you with them, you married to him, or your brother is over there, oh, your uncle, yeah, all of y'all. That's how Paul was getting down. But guess what? That didn't stop. Verse 4 says, therefore they that were scattered abroad went everywhere doing what? Still preaching the word. That's what it's about. Still standing firm, still preaching the word. In a way, this is how the Most High divinely continued spreading the word. People break, you get split, whatever the case may be. Persecution comes. Brothers say, man, I can't afford to live in LA no more, blah, blah, blah. I'm moving down to Memphis. I'm moving it. Okay, continue doing the work. Branch off over there, man, and get it cracking. I'm going to Nebraska. Okay, cool. Get it cracking over there. I'm about to learn Spanish. I'm moving all the way down to the southern tip of Mexico and Yucatan. Get down there and get to work. That's how it goes. Acts 9. Let's look at this. It says, and Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way. Like, this how cold Paul was. Paul was like, look, man, I am stone cold against the church. Anybody that was preaching Christ. He was out there head hunting. It said he was breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples. That's Agent Orange is going to be in the same form and fashion, and Nicanor and all of the enemies of the Lord, man, that spirit encompasses upon the so-called white man. Now, Paul was a brother, but you talking about having that same vitriol and passion that he had for his job and for being a Pharisee and not falling for a particular doctrine. He wasn't having it. And you know how they always use your own to get you. Saul going all out. He went to the high priest and said, man, I need you to give me the authority to write letters to Damascus. I'm gonna in all the synagogues. If I find anybody holding these particular views, I'm on their ass. Tell them their time is limited. Look at it. And desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he said, I don't discriminate. I don't give a damn. He might bring them bound to Jerusalem. He said, man, they get locked up. I'm locking them up. I don't care who they are. Now you see certain gateways and pathways open in the same type of fashion. Where if you are teaching or speaking or saying anything that's against popular culture and norm, they're speaking about locking you up, detaining you, harassing you, disrupting anything that you got going on. You understand? And as you know, later in chapter 9, on his road to Damascus, that's when Yahushua came to him and converted him and cut him to the heart. He told him, man, you're on the wrong path. I'm about to set you up. Everything that you condemn, you're getting ready to defend. And you're going to go through it. Acts 22. And let's read one down. We're going to read 1 down to 4. It says, men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense as I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said, see, that's why Paul was so cold, man, because you remember he had Roman citizenship, spoke multiple languages, came from Tarsus was a port city that was known for, having some money. So privileges was given to Roman citizens that everybody else didn't have. So you could see why, the Most High chose Paul to carry out this mission, to be a stalwart and a light to bring the Gentile-minded Israelites back through Hamashiach Yahushua, grace and mercy, and his sacrifice and his blood. Because he had access to everything. Now he's going over there dealing with his brothers. He said, man, brethren, and fathers. Now he's coming in humility, and they thinking like, man, this dude don't even know what he's talking about. But all of a sudden he starts speaking that Hebrew to them. They was like, oh shoot, he's up on it. Now we got to be quiet and listen to him. They thinking, man, he's gonna be in there speaking Latin and speaking Greek, and he was like, man, I can speak the Hebrew. I can get down with you. They was like, oh, give him respect. You got the floor. He said, I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in the city at the feet of Gamaliel. Gamaliel was a high priest teacher that taught him. You read about Gamaliel in Acts the 5th chapter. It says, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward the Most High, as ye all are this day. And what did he do? And I persecuted this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women, man. So he was slaughtering our people, man, getting our people put to death, binding them up. But this is the same time that we're in right now, man, where it's dangerous. Well, not yet, but we're entering into those realms. You see that the pathways is being laid out right now for this thing to go down, right? For you to get out there and to start declaring your nationality, who you are, your beliefs and everything else. Now it's getting ready to become an issue. Just like in Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6, 2 Maccabees 6 and 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep the Sabbath days or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. When they start asking you you got to compromise your ways, your understanding how you living and everything else. You can't say this, can't say that, and if you say so, it's gonna be a problem. And that's where we at now, right? And even more dangerously, because remember, even in that document, it said that they're going to have, where was it at? They was going to bring in confidential human sources to trap and entrap would-be terrorists, undercover agents, That ain't gonna be the only ones that show acts of betrayal. Thus saith Yahweh Shai. Where we at? Luke 21. And look here, 16. Now, yes, this is 70 AD, but remember, all of these things were still foretold prophecies that would be cyclical when it comes down to the destruction and the seizing of the not only the temple, but also in our times now. So look here, it says in Luke 21:16, and ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. So when somebody's digital ID and they little food card is being threatened, they're getting threatened and getting locked up and persecuted because of their relationship with you. Oh, your mama, your best friend, and your cousins and everybody else. Oh yeah, I don't believe that. They believe that. I told them I was wrong. Yeah, they meet up over here. They have this sister house every Saturday. I know they out there. They teach on this corner, that corner. Y'all gotta be careful too, man. Dropping your addresses where y'all gonna be at. Oh, where y'all brothers gonna be at? I'll be up. Next thing you know, you get set up and some folly goes on. But betrayal is gonna be on deck, you know. Second Ezra's 5th chapter tells us that too. You have friends fighting like enemies and everything else. You know. So it says, and ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. This is what's going to boil down to. But look here. But there shall not an hair of your head perish, and your patience possess your souls. That's what we need to do. John Liv says, is it a sin to love your enemy? I'm gonna get that for you in a second. I'm gonna get that for you. So let me get one more. Let me get one more precept too. Let's go to Daniel, the 3rd chapter. Love your enemy, not the enemies of your own people. That's what we're talking about. The enemies of your own people. We'll get that in Matthew 5 in a second. Give me 1 second. Y'all. Hold up. I got to get this. All right, Slacky. Daniel 3. Let's read verse 1. That says, Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. So let's think about it in the same situation, right? Here we are in spiritual Babylon. Daniel was in physical Babylon. They make it a big image of gold, big old idol of gold. 60 cubits is damn near like 90 feet. A cubit is 18 inches. That's like 1.5 feet. 60, that's 60, right? So you do the math, 60 times 18, and then you divide that by 12. You're almost around 90 feet tall. And then it was 6 cubits in breadth or in width. 6 times 18. I can't do the math on the top of my head, but figure it out. It was a big idol, right? Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the princes and the governors and the captains of the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So he's calling everybody, all of the officials, all the rulers, just like Trump did. Hey, I want all the generals, all the admirals. We got a meeting. shape up, ship out. We're tripping on anybody who's not with the program. We're getting ready to invade all the big cities. You understand? Verse 3, then the princes and the governors, the captains and judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. You know, and remember, this is a big old gold idol. Didn't we just get to seeing Agent Orange showing off his gold, the White House offices in there? Didn't I show that last weekend? And him showing off all the gold that he got in there. Then an herald cried out, Salaki, cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations and tongues, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. So there was a certain time throughout the day, everybody was supposed to bow down. Once they heard the cornet, the flute, everybody had to be compromised and worship this golden image. Verse 6, and whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So everybody should kind of be familiar with this particular story of Daniel and his history. So the edict is put out there. It's going to be a big golden idol daily that had to be worshipped at the sound of the sackbut, the flute, the cornet, the psaltery. When that music gets to playing, everybody bow down, right? If you don't, you get thrown in the furnace. Verse 12, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. So now these are men who have positions within Babylon, set over the affairs. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or as the elder Rashab would call them, a bad Negro. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So these are men of renown who said, hey, we ain't bowing down. We ain't doing it. We're not bucking. We're not breaking. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, this gets into like a Revelation 13 situation, translated into our times. Those who are not going to bow down to an image, bow down to receiving the markings of sin and unrighteousness and wickedness and compromising your ways to follow along with the idolatrous ways of the oppressor, right? All of these things, when you're refusing to say, I'm not going to go along with this system, I'm not going to compromise my body, I'm not doing none of that. You understand what I'm saying? And what did they have to face? They knew that the end result was going to be death if they didn't. Shut out. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. They said, man, we ain't going to tiptoe around this. We ain't going to watch what we say. We ain't going to try to get slick. Hell no, we ain't bowing down. Verse 17, it says, if it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. So they said, look, do what you got to do, man. The Most High is going to deliver us. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. He said, even if it don't go down, we ain't bowing down. Right? Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury in the form of his visage, has changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And if y'all know the rest, we'll drop down and get it right to it. Now it says, verse 22, therefore, because the king's command was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So it said, man, the cast that was sent them into the flaming furnace, and they got burnt up and slew. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were still holding it down in the fiery furnace, in the midst of affliction. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the furnace, the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High. So Yahweh comes in there as an angel, protects them, brings them through the flames and through the fire. Remember, even in the spirit, man, the Most High in the book of Sirach, chapter 2, the Most High said that we were going to have to go through the furnace of affliction, right? We're going to be tried like gold and silver is tried and refined. So that this is all, symbolically and spiritually comes with the territory, but it also comes through the deliverance of Hamashiach Yahushua, man. Is how we're going to get up out of here in these flames and through this affliction that's coming down. So we definitely see what's going on in these times, but there's always a shining moment where we see that we're going to be delivered. We're going to be taken care of in these days and times. Although it's going to be hectic, it's going to be troublesome, it's going to be difficult. But if we remain faithful, we remain locked into the scriptures, we stay 10 toes down and dedicated and sincere with this word in our life, we got a chance to get up out of here. Right? The scriptures even say some of us will not see death. Right? Let me get John Liv's question real quick. Let's look at Matthew 5. And we'll look at 43. It says, Ye have heard that it have been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. So you're saying, is it a sin to love your enemy? Well, we got to find out, who's an enemy, because clearly we said, ye have heard that it has been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, and do good to them that hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you. So the question is, who's our enemies, right? We know that the nations have been pronounced as our enemies, but in this particular context, remember, the first thing that Christ said is, it's been said that thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. So we have to identify with the relationship between neighbor and enemy. Let's look at Matthew, the 10th chapter. And let's see. Let's read 10:34. We'll read down to 36. It says, Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. So Christ said he's going to bring destruction. Not only that, a sword is used to cause division. These are the type of spirits he's coming for. The Christian church would like to tell you that he's coming down with flowers and rose petals and turtle doves flying by him and everything's going to be great. He said, no, I'm coming to bring a sword, right? No peace. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's foes shall be they of his own household. So when we're talking about enemies, household, those of our own house, be it the house of Israel, your own physical house, this is who he's talking about, how we're supposed to treat each other, even when it comes down to them being looked at as quote unquote enemies or turned to being enemies. Leviticus 19:18 says, Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh. So when we're talking about loving your enemies, is it a sin? No, because the law says you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself, but your neighbor can also be looked at as your enemy as well, according to Christ. Let's get a couple more. Let's look at Matthew. Let's go back to the gospel. Matthew 4. Let's read 23 and 25. It says, And Yahushua went about all Galilee, teaching in the synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people. And his fame went throughout all Syria, and they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with diverse diseases and torments, and those which were possessed with devils, and those which were lunatic. This ain't the one I wanted. Hold on. The Mark. Maybe it's Mark. I said Matthew. Maybe it's Mark. Mark. Maybe not Mark. Hold on. Might have lost it. Let's look at Luke 19. Here's another one too. I can't remember the Mark. Luke 19:27. Even Christ said he is announcing his enemies. It says, "But those mine enemies which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me." Even Yahweh Shai is going to take vengeance upon his enemies, namely the nations, but also anyone who's an enemy of Christ. There's going to be 2/3 of our people who are declaring themselves as enemies of Christ. Judgment is going to be on him. But, it's our job to make sure that we're put in a position that we do the right thing according to the law and according to wisdom, right? So when it comes to our own people, Romans 12:18 says, "If it be possible, as much life in you, live peaceably with all men." So when it comes down to it being a sin to love your enemy, not the enemy of your own people. It's a sin if you don't love your enemy of your own people, right? Because the scriptures say that we're not supposed to bear grudges against our own people, but as far as the enemies of the Lord, no, it's not a sin. All right. Hopefully that brought some edification on that. Look, hopefully everybody's gonna, soak that in. The question was, is it a sin to love our enemies, meaning both our and other nations? No, wait, only our nation, right? I don't know when you're saying loving the other nations, is it a sin to love the other nations? I don't have time to be discerning and trying to understand what you're trying to say. You said, is it a sin to love our enemies, meaning both our and other nations? I answered the our. So the second part of the question is, are you asking, is it a sin to love the nations? Is that what you're asking? Okay. Let me get one more scripture for you. And then I'm gonna close out, and then I got most I wouldn't I'll be back tomorrow with another why is this not sharing? Because really, even with your question, like, what is love? What do you mean loving them? Emotional? Or do you mean treating them under the law? Psalm 139:21 says, "Do I not hate them, O Lord, that hate thee, and am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee?" So we're supposed to have the same mind state. We're supposed to hold on to the same manner of indignation that our Father has. Now, the Father says that the nations are all confederate against us. They that hate thee have lifted up the head. The Psalms 83. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So if there's nations that are enemies to God, we need to have the same type of backing of our Father that he gave us according to Psalms 139. So when it comes down to it, the Lord tells you how you're supposed to hold yourself. right? And what is love? Absolutely, the Most High hates sinners. Why not? Didn't he say, hate the evil, love the good in Amos? So there you go. That's it. The law. Right. So the question again gets back to, show me in the scriptures where it says that we're supposed to love. Who are the enemies according to the law? Who are the enemies according? Who's our enemies according to the law? And where does it say that we love them? I'll leave with that. I'll leave with that. Right. There's nothing to think about, y'all lives. There's not. With that being said, brothers and sisters, if the answer wasn't clear enough for you to discern, then it's okay. But we have to define in the law where it says who are the enemies and show us that we were loving them in order to create a sin. But we can clearly see that the Lord has enemies. The Lord said that we're supposed to hate those that hate him. That's a command. That's not a question. That's not a remark. If you're just going to deal with the Torah, that's a whole other thing that we can get into in the Torah. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But for tonight, most High willing, I'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing, on a double up. Double up. You gotta find me, Jalil, just like you did now. All right. Find me, Jalil, and just like you did tonight. All right. Other than that, man, y'all be blessed. Have a blessed Shabbat. See y'all, Lord willing, tomorrow. All right. Y'all be well. Take care. Shalom.